Hello, welcome back to Furious Driving, and yes, we've got another new car on the channel. As you may remember, last week we revealed the new bright yellow Mercedes W123, which is sort of a side project on the fleet as it's been palmed off on my friend Barry, and he can do the bulk of it, and we'll just check in and maybe help him out along the way. But certainly that W123 will be part of the Furious fleet in a sideways kind of a way. However, the reason I didn't take that Mercedes on myself was because, as you know, I've got too many projects, even as it is. But I knew there was something else waiting on a low loader in the wings to come and join the fleet properly for real. And it's something a little bit special. It might not look particularly special to you on camera. It may just look like a 200 bubble, but this is far more than just a 200 bubble. This is one of the rarest cars of the 90s still in existence, and also one of the most under the radar hot hatches as well. This is a 200 VI, and according to how many left, there are only 18 remaining in the UK, which makes this my rarest car now. Now, pretty much everyone is familiar with the 200 BRM, which is generally British racing green, bright orange air intake, red leather, and the hot engine. This VI is basically the same car, but without the slightly garish bits that make the BRM a BRM. It still has the same, let's have a look at this under the bonnet, the same 1.8 VVC twin cam 16 valve Rover K series. It also has the same gearbox with the close ratio gears, and I think a different differential in the gearbox as well. So it's quite fast. In fact, 0 to 60 on this time is 7.5 seconds, and the top speed is around 127 from memory. We'll look at the brochure in a second. Now, the VI is something I really wanted back in the 1990s. I thought it was one of those really cool, classy, fast, elegant cars. I was also quite taken with the thought of a Peugeot 306 XSI. I mean, admittedly, I really wanted the BRM most of all. I think everyone did, but the VI was also right up there on my shopping list. This one only cost me a smidgen over £400. Why is this so cheap when it's one of the most sought after rare hot hatches of the decade? Well, there is a certain little issue which does seem to afflict a certain number of K-series engines. Yeah, this one's had OMG HGF. It's got no head gasket. Well, it has got a head gasket, it's just a wonky head gasket. If you look underneath this, which I haven't actually done yet since the car arrived on a lorry a short time ago, you can see milky goop. So the previous owner noticed something wasn't right. Having realised what was going on, he nursed it home. The car didn't overheat as far as he's aware, and it didn't lose too much oil or coolant. In fact, let's have a look at the oil right now. Whoa! That is proper mayonnaise. I've never actually seen one quite that bad, I don't think. So that is not special. That was, I believe, in 2018, and the car has been sat ever since, waiting to be rescued. So let's take a look around and see what condition this new prize is in. So under the bonnet we have the K-Series VVC, which is the hot engine, as hot as they come in the Rover 200, apart from the T-Series Turbo, which is a different animal entirely. This does have the, I believe, PG1 gearbox as a development of the Coupe Turbo. I may be wrong, I need to go and check up all the specs on this. I'm a bit vague on what exactly the specs are on these things at the moment. I've done little to no research. It was well looked after. He's given me a bit of history on what he'd done to the car in the time he had it. So it's had coolant flush before this happened. The battery wasn't that old, but it is a couple of years old now. I'll stick it on charge, see how that goes. Basically, quite well maintained, fluids changed regularly, so under the bonnet things are pretty good. Apart from, of course, that stuff, which is less than special, but we can fix that. Now, this car does have about 134,000 miles on it, I think, looking at the clock, so it's done a fair few miles, and being a P-plate, it's, well, pushing 25 years old. So considering that, it's actually not in bad condition. There's a few wear and tear issues. Got a few stone chips here on the, and scratches on the leading edge of the bonnet, but nothing too serious. The grille's in nice condition. These headlights have actually perished quite badly. It looks almost like someone's painted them yellow at some point, and then that yellow paint has flaked off, or it could just be the way they deteriorate over time. These chrome insert bits have gone a bit delaminated, which is a fairly common thing on all of those. Likewise, this headlight has also gone pretty manky. This bumper has had a bit of a scuff, and someone's painted it at some point in the past. It's not done that well. It's like a bit of a home touch-up. It's actually quite rough. You could light a match on that if you tried. Also, this bumper doesn't look like it's fitting exactly square, so I think maybe someone has nudged this and then not repositioned it, but if that comes off to be painted, that can be repositioned correctly. That won't be too serious a problem. Wings look good. Obviously these cars can rust around the wings, that's not an uncommon problem. The paint has crazed a bit around here. I might lose these. These are genuine Rover mud flaps, but they are a rust trap, so I'll consider taking them off. It has the correct wheels on them, which I think are the same wheels as the Rover BRM. They are a bit flaky, but not the end of the world. We can consider getting these redone at some point. If you look at the tyres, the tyres are always a clue as to how well a car has been kept, and these are Michelin Energies in 185/55/15, so these are the same size tyres as Quentin wears from memory, but they are a few years old. I think these are the 29th week of 2004, which makes them about 17 years old, in which case they want changing, despite the fact they've still got pretty decent tread and were good tyres to start with. So moving on, so a bit of crazing on just there, but a few paint things to sort out. Doors look good, nothing problem with the doors. There is a bit of a clonk on this same side here, so this has had a bit of a battering. I looked at the photos and I thought maybe there was some rust in this, but it looks like it's actually just a little bit of creasing, so perhaps a dent dude can come along and do a bit of correction on this and make this a little more pretty, which would be good if they could. But that is the worst of the exterior damage as far as I can tell. Now stepping back a moment, you can see this is the 3-door shell, which I'd always thought was the far better looking of the two body styles. I mean, it's the same overall body style, but the 3-door just looks just a little bit more elegant. That longer front door, and of course the big single rear glass, which does open on a front hinge like on the Alfa 145. Is a good looking elegant thing, so I'm quite pleased to have one of these. I wanted another 200 R3 on my fleet, but I really wanted it to be a 3-door, and a lot of the ones I was finding were 5 doors. I also wanted a 216 as a minimum, so I'm glad to have found this. Now coming around the back, just here on this edge, it looks like whatever happened to that wing also happened to this corner just here, so this bumper isn't quite aligned again, and it's a little bit of a scuff back there, so I guess I'm going to have both front bumpers and that wing repainted. Not the end of the world. The tailgate, you can see the all-important 200 VI. This is basically the only way to tell that this is as special a car as it is from the outside. The alloys obviously are VI and BRM spec alloys, but I think they found their way to other cars as well. There's not really a lot to show they're anything quite as special. There was a Seawards badge which has been taken off on the back here. I guess this is the original Seawards number plate here on the back of it. Seaward Highcliffe. Someone tell me where Highcliffe is. I've not got Google Maps open right now. I'm guessing somewhere by the sea. Exhaust, I don't think that's original, but you know, it's a 25-year-old car, so I wouldn't expect that. Coming around the passenger side, we have got a little more scuff down here. So again, painting the back bumper, that's just a thing that's going to get done. A few edge chips on the side of the passenger door. And yeah, more of the same really. Generally, oh, this wing has been painted. I don't know if this shows up on camera or not, but this is actually a little bit flat, this wing. It's not as glossy as the rest, so I'm guessing whatever occurred on that corner over there also occurred on this wing here, so we're going to have to get that paint. So basically the whole front end needs to be painted. Okay, so at least we know what we're in for. But let's look inside. Now, the other interesting thing about these cars is the interior. Got a completely different fabric to everything else. It's the same design, this horseshoe top and bottom, which kind of echoes back the P456 kind of range of cars with their style. But this is a really unusual kind of a heavy, it's better condition in the back obviously, a heavy velour tweed. It's Twelour, I think we've called this on a previous video on a different car. It's a little bit grubby where it's been parked up and used for so many years, but not really in bad condition. I mean, can you think of any other cars with 135,000 miles on them, 134,000, this little wear on the bolsters, and they are quite comfortable. Door cards, got a bit of dirt on there, bit of collapse on that bit of trim just there. Unfortunately, because this fabric is unique, replacing this with a junkyard one isn't going to be possible without prizing this out somehow, so I'm not quite sure what I will do about that. Inside the car, we have got the usual R3 stuff. We've got the same bubble dashboard as we find in Quentin the convertible, because that too is I think it's 1996 as well, from memory. I should know that really. So we've got the curvy dashboard area, but we haven't got a passenger airbag in this one like we have in Quentin. We have got a rather nice wood insert up here. It's the darker shade of wood, which is repeated down here. Fan controls, all the rest of it. The radio for some reason is half out and it's missing the 6 button. Not quite sure what the story is just there. We have got radio controls on the steering wheel, and this is of course the same dashboard instrument binnacle as we've got in Quentin, so we're all very familiar with that. One nice thing we have in this car though, electric sunroof. Not a massive fan of a convertible, however I don't mind an electric poppy up sunroof or an opening sunroof where you can pull the blind across, because you don't get a sunburnt head, which is my biggest problem with them. We've got the 5-speed gearbox, obviously the close ratio thing, which feels really nice and tight. I was saying previously that I thought the gearbox in Quentin was the best 200 gearbox I'd driven in a while. This actually even feels better than that. So I think it's a totally different gearbox to the Tomcat and some of the other floppy ones. Electric front windows here in the centre. Nice money saving exercise by Rover just there. The carpets are in great condition. This is the driver's side obviously, and that's the left passenger side. Both of them looking really good. It actually does smell fairly appalling in here. Not terrible, but pretty musty, where the car's been sat for like 2 years with the doors all shut and no one getting in and out. It doesn't smell damp, just really musty, that kind of gets in the back of your throat kind of a smell. But with a bit of a clean up, hoovering, some air freshener, whatever, what have you, this will be coming up quite nicely, I am sure. Now, a big change for the R3s over the R8s is the button on the boot lid. It's far more normal and sensible and grown up. So we have got a proper boot. This isn't attached for some reason. Sling it on there for a second. In here, it all looks fairly clean and tidy. We have got, whoops, a half decent spare tyre, which is good. Got the jack, all the rest of the tools. Yuck, that's a bit sticky. A thermostat. The previous owner did say he changed the thermostat on it, so I guess that's the dead one. The second issue I've just found with this car, apart from the head gasket, is that the hinges on this tailgate doodah load space cover thingy have broken, and so that's why it wasn't hooked to anything. Otherwise it just dangles in the air. Now, as you know, I've been into Rovers for a long time, so I've been up in the loft and actually found the Rover brochures from when the R3 was new. And so I did have a 216 SI in that Nightfire red actually back at the time. Man, I've had a quick look for the VI here in the spec sheets. And here we go, the VI, 1796 cc's, 145 PS, 150-ish horsepower, top speed 127 miles per hour, 0 to 60, 7.5, urban economy 27.6 mpg, extra urban 49, so decent on the motorway, combined about 37, so it's a decent car to use every day. Insurance group 14 back in the old group, so quite a high insurance. So we've got, according to the brochure from 1998, we've got an advanced 1.8 litre petrol K-series engine, variable valve control, tinted windscreen with shade band, body colour bumper, rear spoiler, sports alloy wheels, advanced rear wheel steer suspension. Yeah, I remember that being a feature. They did handle really, really well. Power steering with positive centre feel, heated windscreen washer jets. I'm going to have a look for that in a second. High mounted stop lamp, disc brakes front and rear, anti-lock brakes, driver's airbag, front seatbelt pre-tensioners, lots of good stuff. Well, looking around the car, I've got a few bits and pieces with it. I haven't got the full book pack, but I have got the Rover Assistance, which expired in January 1998, which I guess means this was a 1997 registered car, hence the P plate. So in terms of spec, I've got the radio cassette, which does have a CD controller, but I didn't notice a CD changer in the boot or under the seat. We've got front and rear fog lights, but no air conditioning. We've got electric windows, an electric sunroof, and that's kind of it as far as our luxury extras go. Condition wise, I'm really impressed by how good everything inside this car is. The leather gaiter on the gear shift is really nice. This is proper leather. The seats are in amazing condition for the mileage, and the door cards, even the headlining's got a few little stains up on it, but the carpets are just completely unworn. This is clearly a car that's been very well taken care of during its life. I know the person who sold it to the person who sold it to me was a real Rover nut apparently, and a real Rover collector, so they will have taken good care of it over the years as well. So thankfully it's gone from Rover fan to car collector, possibly Rover fan as well, to another Rover fan car collector, so its future is assured. The last owner did tell me the battery was pretty low. He's had it on charge for a bit and it was holding voltage, just didn't have any amps at all, which is a story I guess we're all familiar with by now. So I've got the jump start pack on it. But despite the head gasket failure, it did drive onto the truck and then got here and drove off the track, and I parked it in the corner. So everything was good. It felt really good. Now there is one problem though I'm now experiencing, which I'm sure we will be very familiar with if we cast our mind back to Quentin from a little while ago. Listen for the sound of anything happening. Nada, zip, sausages. can lock it. I can lock it on the key, and I can unlock it on the key. But nothing happens when I push this. I have just tested the key fob battery, and it's showing 2.96 volts, which is meant to be 3, but I think 0.4 of a volt wouldn't make that much of a difference. But listen to this. Do you remember that from Quentin? Do you remember how he taunted me? How he punished me? Do you remember how Quentin just ruined my life for weeks with that stupid noise? Yeah, we're back to that all over again. Now, I actually knew this car was on the way from quite a long time ago. It was around about the beginning of the summertime that the owner got in contact with me, said would I be interested in taking it on as a project. And at the time I said yes, I would absolutely love to take it on as a project, but at the moment Quentin the convertible is sucking up all of my time, all of my free money, and taking a space on the drive. So if you can hang on until I've sold that car, then we can move the VI into its place. And I'll be honest, the VI is far more me. I'm far more into kind of hot hatches than convertibles. So this car really is far more my cup of tea. But as you know, Quentin didn't sell. Quentin was stuck at the paint shop for about 2 months in the end, because the painter got COVID for 6 weeks, and then everything got pushed back. And so by the time the summer ended, I still had Quentin, and no one wanted to buy a convertible in the autumn. So Quentin is still in a garage. And I said to the owner eventually, look, I can't string you on any longer. I'll have to find somewhere else for Quentin to live, and I'll take the VI. This is why I knew I couldn't take the Mercedes W123 on as yet another project, because I knew this project was on the way. And much as I do like a W123, and I was seriously considering taking that yellow one and pillaging it for pieces for the blue one, I knew I didn't have space, time, everything else with this car coming, because I've still got the V8 to sort out. And don't worry, I've not forgotten the V8. I've been looking at it during the week, and electrical problems are always my nemesis, and it does seem now to be an electrical problem that's stopping me from starting. I'm going to be doing more welding on that W123 in the very near future. I need to go and buy lots of parts for it, like body panels and things. So yeah, that's going to be another expensive fun game. But yes, this is a car I've wanted since the 1990s, so I wasn't going to say no when I was given the chance to go and get hold of one for frankly a very affordable price. Even as the seller said to me, if I wanted to put this back on eBay right now, I could probably sell it for more than I paid for it tomorrow. But I'm not going to do that, because we are going to have this car back on the road again. I wasn't anticipating having trouble with the immobilizer. That's a whole new exciting problem which I wasn't expecting. So what are my plans for this car? Well, first of all, we're going to try and fix the head gasket. That's the main thing. Secondly, we're going to get it cleaned up really nicely on the inside. It's not that grubby, but it certainly could do with a bit of a deep clean. It's an old car after all. And then we'll sort out the bodywork on the outside, change those headlights out, sort out the bumpers and the things on it so it's looking as good as it could. So we'll take the head off, we'll take it to a machine shop. I think we'll skim it regardless, because that way we can make sure it's not going to happen again. We can also get the ports polished and everything like that, make it flow really nicely, and we'll put it back together using the correct, not multi-layer head gasket and all the right stainless steel dowels and everything. So it's going to be high compression, solid performing, and not have a problem ever again. And I've just noticed this does actually have wires up to the windscreen washers, so it does have heated windscreen washers. I never knew that before. Now the main problem initially is going to be the immobilizer not working. Obviously jump starting it, this is yet another battery which isn't working properly, because the car's been sat for I guess about 2 years or so, so problems just there. And also because I haven't got the book pack, I don't know what the ignition key in the door secret code thing is, so I can't even do that thing like I was trying on Quentin the convertible. So I may well find myself changing the immobilizer on this car as well, which is a pain in the bottom I was hoping not to have to endure. But we will get around it. Well, this really is desperation, but I've disconnected the battery and put it on charge. I'll leave it like this until tomorrow morning, and then I'll put a new battery in the key fob, regardless of the fact the old one is still half decent apparently, and maybe, just maybe, this car will start up again in the morning. Well, that little badge there, it is tiny, but it means a lot, and that means this has been one of my secret crush cars for a long time. I really wanted a VI ever since they came out back in the late 90s, but obviously I couldn't afford to buy one, and I couldn't afford to insure one back then either. So it's been a really long time coming that I finally got one sat on the drive, and I'm very, very excited about it. And I have to say, I have to either thank or blame all of you for making this happen. Firstly, because the person who sold me this car got in contact because of this YouTube channel, and secondly, the fact that you all watch this rubbish mean I'm enabled and encouraged to go and take on these stupid projects. Normal people would just say that would be nice, thanks, and pass on quietly into the night. But no, someone with a YouTube channel desperate for content and also desperate for the cars of their dreams will take an opportunity like that and go, wow, fantastic, another broken car, I'm so excited. I've actually got a t-shirt for that, Broken Rovers, Shattered Dreams. It's in the store below. I think I need to go and buy several of them and wear them all the time because that is basically my life. Broken Rovers, Shattered Dreams. That Immobilizer just shattered a dream straight away, because I've got to say, this car drove down the drive so nicely, and that doesn't drive at all again. So I really am looking forward to getting this car back on the road. I haven't driven a 200 bubble in a really long time. I've driven a lot more of the earlier R8s in between, but I always remember these being smooth, composed, great drivers' cars. The engineers who put these things together really cared about making a great product. We'll do a full in-depth review about what a Rover R3 is at a later date, but for the meantime, just know this car is here. It's another project. We are going to have to do the engine, and then we're going to sort out the bodywork, and it's going to be a great fun project that I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into. Obviously not at the detriment of the other ones, which are also going to be happening as well soon. But this is a car I've wanted for such a long time, so even though I know it will get in the way of the other projects, I wasn't going to pass it up because a VI is one of my little secret weird dream cars. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed watching this car come back together over the coming episodes. And if you do want to do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again next time, working probably on the V8 again actually.